I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to get straight into this live Q&A. So please do throw your questions in the box, in the chat box, and we'll get through as many as we can in the very short time I have. First of all, let's invite our chair on, Jean-Paul. Hello, Jean-Paul. Nice to see you again. And then Session here and Niduk as well. How are you doing, guys? You coping? How is your fundraiser journey going? Are you at your end, or are you still with us? How are you, Jean-Paul?
Oh, we are just going through a second lockdown, so it's a kind of habit now until we relaunch again. So it's even more actual to speak about it and the way we live through all these very challenging times.
Yeah, good. Well, you still have a smile on your face. I've never seen you not smiling, so that's a good sign. Niduk, thanks very much for joining us in what must be middle of the night for you, maybe?
It's about 5 a.m. I'm an early bird, though, so it's all good.
Yeah, and you have a lot to stay up for anyway. Niduk, when you mentioned the VMS tech, when you mentioned that the video side of it, people in the chat box, their eyes kind of lit up. Would you mind explaining that a little bit more for us, how that works for you?
Yeah, sure. So what VMS is, video messaging and storytelling. It is a new channel of reaching and connecting with donors, either active or lapsed, that could be leads or leads, through a video one-to-one personalized message. Now, there are a number of different platforms that actually provide this service, which is why we refer to it as VMS, as sort of an actual channel. I think it's, one of these things that we have over the last 18 months now. And so it's funny because everyone thinks this is, Up has sort of come into this as a result of COVID, but actually we've been in the back of this now for about 18 months. And so what we have found with VMS is that it's kind of like receiving a WhatsApp or a FaceTime, one-to-one video message that I would leave you, Simon, saying, "Hey, Simon, how's it going? Hope you've been doing well." And it's raw, it's personal. It isn't sort of necessarily couched in lots of produced video. So it's important to sort of recognize a distinction when we talk about video messaging as an actual message, as opposed to sending out a video that you would normally sort of put out on YouTube or on Facebook. Okay, so that's highly produced video.
So it's adapting to this world where sometimes the only time we can talk is by video, but still using the face-to-face skills of conversation.
Absolutely, right? So through it, and this is what we have found that's been so remarkable, Simon, is that the power of video is fantastic. You can feel the energy, you can hear the intonation, you can see the facial expressions, and we find that we have engagement rates with people at an extraordinary level, right? So I don't know how many people, for example, today received Catherine's video.
Yeah.
So, Catherine sent out a video, which gives you sort of a sense, right? It's sort of her, recording a personalized sort of one-to-one video. It's not a highly produced video. There are no special lights or anything like that. It could be recorded on your phone, and very often, we do encourage our fundraisers to use their phone to give it that sort of, we're sort of active and in the space and in the moment sort of feel to it. Yeah, very, very interesting technology, fantastic results, and just brilliant engagement. I mean, even today with Catherine's video, the response was fantastic, right? People were responding back to it saying, "Thank you so much," right? "Thank you for inviting me." So yeah,
cool. I like it. Nice one. Good on you. Well, I mean, there's lots of people who I think have more and more questions. So I know you're hopefully going to stick around for a bit in the chat box as well afterwards. Session, congratulations on the new business. Am I right? Am I right in saying that you're a gentleman who set up a face-to-face company during a global pandemic and a lockdown? Is that right? Is that what you've done?
Yeah, we were. So hello everyone. I mean, we were left with no choice actually, and I mean, India is going through a lot of political turmoil, and it's difficult for the rights-based organizations to work in the country. So we were shut down. Our accounts were frozen, and we had a big team, and we had built it over the last 5 years. So what do we do? Do we go out, look for jobs, settle in 10, 15 different organizations? But I think what happened, I had no plans of setting up the company. This idea came from the team. So the team enjoyed working together so much that they are like, why don't we start something of our own? Because there are multiple agencies, multiple organizations hiring. So it's like, why do we want to divide ourselves into 15 different places and we lose our effectiveness? And actually, I saw the value in that because I think what is important, whether you are an organization running in-house or whether you are an agency, building the team is the most important part of running a successful operation. And what we had was the team, which was ready to stick together. And we said, why not? So I know it's crazy, pandemic, we are like, the cases in India are going up day by day. But I think if we stick together, we'll sail through. There's a lot of scope. I've been engaging with a lot of organizations in the market. And I think a lot of them have been also looking out for people who have that integrity, who come with values, and who'd be able to deliver what they promise that they'll do. And I think we come with a proven track record of delivery over the last 5 years, not only with Amnesty, but also with Greenpeace. So I think that is adding to our advantage, but let's see how the journey goes. But we're quite excited about this.
Well, let me ask you this quickly, because Jean-Paul talked about the fundraisers journey, which I love that idea. And Jean-Paul, I'm going to come to you in a second about that. But as someone, as someone who goes from with being a fundraiser and setting up your own agency, I've done that. A number of us here today have done that. We've seen that a lot. How do you stop yourself becoming what you don't want to be? So often we come into this, and when I started as a face-to-facer in Australia, there was the notions of we look after our fundraisers centered, as Naduk said, that putting them first. At what point, Session, are you going to become one of those evil people that doesn't put the fundraiser first, or how do you maintain it? How do you stay this attitude that you've got right now?
So I think one thing that I've realized during the lockdown is also that the money that you need to survive and stay and be very happy is not that much. So you're sorted. Happiness does not come with that big paycheck. So I would say that realization has happened because of COVID, and I think people matter, relationships matter, family matters a lot. So that's one. And I would say the other thing is that Greenpeace and Amnesty for the last 18 years have done a fantastic job of brainwashing me. So I'm quite happy and proud of that. And because those values and learnings were formed at very early stages, like I started when I was 19 as a face-to-face fundraiser, I doubt that it would go away, so soon. So I'm quite positive. I know, it's an evil world out there, but I think we'll try and make sure that we stick to our roots, because that's where happiness lies.
Yeah, and I think it's a good world. I think there's just some misguided people or confused people. Jean-Paul, we don't have much time, so I'm going to ask you all about this fundraiser journey and what specifically on a practical level we can do. But Jean-Paul, you were asking the questions in there, so I want to give you a chance to share your opinion. This important fundraiser journey, this idea of putting the fundraiser centered, what does that look like on a practical level? What do we do in our day-to-day work to make that actually happen?
That's a very interesting question, Simon. In fact, very often in our field, we speak about metrics. We speak about metrics, meaning street rate, average donation, productivity, and as Daryl said in the last panel, we are very much into figures, and we probably have to switch from figures to quality. And that's the same with fundraisers. In fact, we have to switch to quality, not quality of the fundraisers because they are very skilled already, but quality of training them, of keeping their motivation, of making sure they can visualize a career for them, making sure that after the fundraising, they get good jobs, even when they go after, even if they don't want to hear about us anymore, then they get good jobs, because fundraising, face-to-face fundraising would be considered as a real value for their profile. So we have to find new metrics also, meaning how long do they stay, what's their wage, how are they trained, how are they secured, what's their welfare, what the kind of welfare state we install for them, what kind of social security, how can we diversify the actions they are doing, diversifying for the channels, diversifying for the non-profits they are dealing with, because sometimes, you know, people were, you are speaking, you come from Amnesty International, Satching, and so people are used to fundraise for Amnesty International, but after a while, it's good for them to go to Greenpeace, to go to Save the Children, to go to UNICEF, to go to anything else, and to make them very rich in their mind, so that when they quit, even if it's 3, 4, 5 years after, they have a real new profile, very enriched profile for their job life, whatever they do. That's what we have to work on, and that's that's probably what the pandemics reveals for us, because we know that we can be completely crisis-proof if we switch from one channel to the other, whether it's videos, whether it's telemarketing, whether it's even digital, whatever, because we are very skilled people. So we know that we can do that. So now it needs partnership between the providers and the non-profits. It needs that we don't consider fundraising, mostly face-to-face fundraising, as something in a silo. We have to expand it, and that's what we have to build all together.
And we have to brainwash them like Session, I suppose.
Yeah.
So Maxime makes a great point in the chat box about, and you're talking about it there as well, Jean-Paul, about not just the business metrics, but these kind of social metrics, where we're, even, measuring our fundraisers' happiness, measuring, the quality of life, not just about that bottom line thing. Nidok, as we come to this end here, in terms of the fundraisers journey, and you talked about putting fundraisers center as opposed to donor center, which I love. And very few people are kind of brave enough to say that out loud. But how do we do that? If we can only do one thing after today, what should people be doing to their face-to-faces to keep them engaged, keep them happy?
So Simon, I think I mentioned this, in the session, but in order we have to understand that this is a significant portfolio for organizations. And so our fundraisers that have the skills to be able to make the ask, not very many people have that skill set to be able to say, hi, Simon, can you give me $20 a month, right? Not a one-off gift, a month for potentially the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, is a skill that requires confidence. And I think it's really important for not just us as agencies, but as NGOs and charities working in the space, to recognize that we have to, and I think I used the word protect, right? Protect that field force. Jean-Paul has talked about it extensively as well, because ultimately that interaction that fundraiser has with that donor is very often the only time that donor will ever meet someone face to face. And so we have to respect that. That is the first impression and relationship that is built. That's the first point of trust very often that starts. And so if you don't remember the first date, right, very likely things will start to fizzle out, right? Because you have to remember that spark. And so I think, I don't know why I just thought of that analogy.
Because it's 5:30 in the morning, maybe?
Exactly. But I think it is also an important consideration, right? So I think you have the onus really is on the NGO to not think of also face-to-face fundraisers as being disposable, right?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, I know that's a harsh word for a lot of organizations to hear, but sometimes I do believe that they kind of say, you know what, this isn't working this week, we're shutting the program down.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to go into a retail location? It's minus 20 degrees as it is here in Canada these days. Oh, no, you know what? I'm not sure that's going to be possible for us. We have to respect that fundraiser is the one that's doing the ask, the one that's building and starting that relationship. And I think once you start to think about it from that perspective and you're anchored in that, that's how you begin to recognize that actually the fundraiser is at the center.
Yeah, it's moving away from numbers in an Excel spreadsheet to actually these names and stories and lifetimes that comes behind each person. Sachin, I'm going to give you the last word, because I mean, you have to be very careful here. You whatever you say we should be doing for a fundraiser journey, your team and your staff are going to hold you to this, I imagine. So what can people like you do differently to support their team, support their fundraisers, and show them, I suppose, the respect that they're due and the protection that Naduk has talked about? How do you do that?
So I think the first thing that needs to be done is you have to be very honest with the people that you work with. So for example, if a fundraiser comes to you and tells you that I want to make this kind of money, and you know practically it's not possible, you tell them that I won't be able to provide that even if you work 18 hours a day. And if you want to make that kind of money, go and work somewhere else. The money is just an example. I'm saying it could be anything else. It could be they want to be doing maybe major donor work or legacy work or anything. Their aspirations are different. So be very honest with them and transparent in saying that, okay, these are things that I can help you meet by investing in you. Have that training and development piece of work, which is not only limited to your bottom line. So for example, if you have a training team, the training team's objective is not just to keep training that fundraiser to become a machine and deliver products every day, but also to train them on things which are beyond the scope of work. And I think those are things that really helps you grow in life and in your career. I think I was in a way lucky because my training and development was not just restricted to how do you pitch to how do you close. It was restricted to about how is the world functioning, what are the different relationship building that needs to be done, the front end, the back end of things, the programmatic side of things, knowing about what's happening in the world. You can't just be close to that. And so I feel that the exposure that needs to be given would have to be beyond the basic 9 to 5, 10 to 7, 10 to 6 work that you do. And I think it's a long-term game, and people's personality will grow, they will learn new things, and they will grow in their career. There's no taking away that. But I think don't just limit them to what task they have been hired for and keep getting the output from them month after month, because then 2 years later, they will be what they were when they joined in. The only good thing would be that they are better at closing a sign up day after day. So don't do that to people, because I think they are giving away the most crucial part of their lives. Most of them are young. You're starting early, and whatever you learn is that 3 to 5, 6 years. And that's when you pick up a lot of things. So I would say that invest in them beyond their daily jobs.
I like it. All right, guys. Fantastic points of view, fantastic insight there. I really, really appreciate your time, especially those of you who got up in the middle of the night for this or who are still up. But guys, I hope you're going to stick around a bit in the chat box. I know there's more questions. We've got a break coming up. There's a video chat room as well. If anyone wants to talk to any of these wonderful speakers face to face, hopefully they might pop in. Guys, lovely to see you. Stay safe, stay well, look after yourself.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Simon.
Thank you.